Welcome to New Quizzes in Canvas. My name is Kevin Lawanto, and I'll be showing you the demo for this New Quizzes training today. It seems that all of you who joined this training are all academic liaisons. Interesting. So, am I sharing my screen? Yes, I am sharing my screen. Okay. Again, welcome to New Quizzes. Let's go ahead and get started since we have a lot of different things that we should talk about New Quizzes. This training will cover how to use New Quizzes in general. So I do know that I'm sure you all know that New Quizzes is still a tool that is still under development by Canvas, by instructor. So if you have any questions about investigation or why certain things not working in New Quizzes, and how to use certain things in New Quizzes, for example, item banks, or how to transfer your classic quizzes to New Quizzes, this might not be the right place to do that, as I'm going to be demoing basically on how to use New Quizzes in general. There will be a separate training or videos, YouTube videos that can show you on how to transfer classic quizzes to New Quizzes and other workarounds that are available. A bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. We'll be doing a short Q&A session at the end of the session. Again, so this is a bit different than our other trainings in the way that New Quizzes is brand new to not just all of you, but also to us. There are a lot of different things that are unfamiliar to us in the office. So if you have any questions and that I cannot answer in the session, please put a ticket to it, because joining office hours might not going to be appropriate either, because we tend to take our time to actually get to know what problems that you're having with New Quizzes. So we actually want to understand the problem, and that requires more than that usually requires more time for us to investigate the issue. So if you don't mind putting a ticket, actually, that will be really helpful if you have certain questions about how to use New Quizzes or some kind of investigation why certain tools not working in New Quizzes. So log in if you would like to follow along. As usual, you can go to lms.tamu.edu and log in on the top right-hand corner with your net ID and password. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to log in. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you our resources that we have about New Quizzes and about different trainings in general. So we have created an LMS website. We have created, if you go to tools and third-party tool status, for example, and scroll down, you're going to be able to see New Quizzes in here. And in the Learn More section, you're going to be able to share this with the other faculty that you're helping in your departments on how to use New Quizzes and workaround for migration question banks to item banks. And when you take a look at this, I can certainly share this also in the chat for you to keep a copy of. And also one more thing that I typically use pretty much every day whenever there's a faculty or someone reach out to me and ask me, hey, what is working? What is the limitations of New Quizzes, for example? So I always use this really this document by Canvas in the Canvas community. It's basically titled FAQ for new quizzes, where you can learn more about what's working, what's under development, how to do certain things in new quizzes. So I'll share this again in the chat with you. So I usually use those two documents. Okay, and lastly, we have a bunch of different trainings available that's lined up on our monthly schedule. So if you're interested in to learn more about how to use certain things, please look at our monthly schedule. Unshare and go back to my PowerPoint. Outcomes. By the end of this session, you'll be able to identify best practices for building new quizzes in Canvas and also create a quiz using new quizzes in Canvas. Again, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat for now. So from this point on, I'm going to switch between my PowerPoint and my Canvas course. So, but if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I can certainly repeat what I said. Where is my, oh, this. I have so many tabs open. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go to my sandbox course. This is my practice course that we'll be using for this demo. I'm gonna go to quizzes, basically. So if you want to, it is really up to you. Like I said earlier, that new quizzes is still a tool that's under development. If you want to start using it, we actually recommend that faculty use new quizzes for low stakes exam, just for quizzes, normal quizzes, just to try that out. But for high stakes exam, since they're planning to use, for example, responders, or if they're teaching distance ed courses and they would like to use Unlock, those proctoring tools usually tend to work well with classic quizzes, especially with Unlock, when there is no Unlock in new quizzes yet, if you're teaching DE courses, distance ed courses. So, but we can talk more about the limitations later. But if you want to create new quizzes, you can create plus new quizzes and just and click new quizzes. This is one way to do it. You can also create new quizzes from modules. There is I actually prefer that a faculty actually create their quizzes from module. I will explain why in just a little bit, but they can also create the quiz from module and choose new quizzes and name it and add item. The reason why I actually prefer to show faculty to use new quizzes, to create new quizzes from module, is because of this. So if they create the new quizzes from quizzes and click plus new quiz, they will see this option. Remember my choice for this course, which is not available when they create that new quiz from modules. So if by accident they click remember my choice and they click new quizzes, and in the future, when they start creating new quizzes, they will not get that message anymore. So it's basically every time they're clicking new quiz, it's always going to create new quizzes. That's why we've seen it in multiple occasions that they get confused, because they saw, hey, it's new quizzes. Why am I seeing this? For example, I'm going to use this external tool LTI. It's because they're using new quizzes. But thankfully, fortunately, there's a way to return, to revert back. So if by accident they click that remember my choice, to get that option back, the quiz engine options is to click the 3 vertical dots and reset quiz engine choice. So I've resetted it. Now, if I click plus quiz, you'll get this choose a quiz engine options again. So that's just one reason why I like to tell faculty, just create it in modules so that they don't accidentally click this choice, this button. So that's how you create the quiz. I already create my new quizzes in earlier for this demo, so I'm going to use this. So new quizzes is an LTI, basically. It's a third-party tool. So you will not see, so you should treat it as an LTI. So for example, in classic quizzes, faculty do not need to put points. But since this is an LTI, they will need to put the points. This points needs to match with the points that they put in per questions and when they build the questions in new quizzes. So this is something that they do not have to do in classic quizzes. All the points that they build per questions is going to automatically transfer to points. That's not the case in new quizzes. That they need to put this points. So if it's 100, just put 100 and make sure that this point adds up to the number of points that they put per questions later on. So this is after you do this, after they put the points, they put the name, they put the points, they put the assigned to as usual. Don't change this because it is an LTI, and click build to build the question. So from here, you will be able to see the new quizzes LTI, where the first thing that you will see is basically the title. So this title, you don't need to change. It's basically the same title as what you put on the previous section. What they will need to put is basically the instruction. And here, this is just for the instruction of the new quiz. And then from on the bottom of the instruction, then that's where they can build the questions. So as of right now, I'm not going to talk on how to build certain types of questions. There will be a different training on that talks more about question types. But I've built different questions in here just to show you for this demo. For example, multiple choice question, you can just add the plus icon and choose multiple choice. And if you have created item banks, and in classic quizzes, it's no longer called question banks, it's now called item banks. You can definitely use the item banks in here and choose the item banks, choose the questions from the item banks. But we're not going to talk about how to create an item banks. That's a separate training. I'm just going to show you how you can build your questions from scratch, basically. So this is the type of multiple choice question where there's a different features too that are now available in new quizzes that were not available in classic quizzes. For example, vary points by answer. Again, where this is something that some faculty are looking, a feature that faculty are looking for to give different points for different types of answers. Now you can give this points, 5 points, 4 points, 3 points, 0 or 0 if you want. So this feature is not available for, it's only available for multiple choice exam questions. So it's certainly look for different variations that you can use in new quizzes. You can also shuffle choices in here. So for example, which I'm going to talk about later, there's a difference between this shuffle choices in here and shuffle choices in settings. Shuffle choices in here per question is basically shuffling the question per question. So if you just want to shuffle question number 1, you can click shuffle choices, and you don't have to click shuffle choices for question number 2, because you might have questions that says one of the answer choices that says A and B are correct. if you shuffle choices for all of them in settings, A and B are going to be on the very top. It's going to be confusing. So that's why you have this new feature, so that you can shuffle the choices per question. You can also put this in item bank if you want. Start building your question bank. That's a type of formula questions. If you're a math faculty, the way to use formula questions in classic quizzes versus in new quizzes is a bit different. There's a different icons, different not icons, different symbols, different keys that they use in classic quizzes, such as this one. So which we can talk about different question types later on in different training, since I'm not really a math person either. Another question types that are available is stimulus question. So if you've taken a standardized exam, for example, if you remember taking a GRE or ACT or SAT, sometimes they ask you about read the passage, for example, and that passage will correspond to question 1 to 5. So that is something that you can create now in new quizzes, which is called a stimulus types of question. I don't really know why they call it stimulus, but it's basically a passage where you can put the reading passage on the left-hand side and then different questions on the right-hand side that corresponds to the reading passage. Earlier, previously in classic quizzes, if you want to put a passage and ask students to respond to question number 1 to 5 and for that passage, you have to create a text no questions option, right? So that's no longer, and then they have to scroll up and down, which is a bit confusing. But in here, if you create a stimulus type of questions, you can display it. Students will be able to display the questions and the passage side by side, basically, instead of up and down in classic quizzes. Categorization is also new, where you can put different categories and put them in the right category if you want something like this, state and state capital. This is also brand new ordering, where you can ask the students to order. Students have taken the exam, so that's why I'm not going to be able to reorder it for now. This is if you're familiar with hotspots question in eCampus. You can also do this now in new quizzes, where you can place a picture and ask students to point something from the picture. That's a multiple choice. Fill in the blank. This is brand new, which is a bit confusing for some people. That in here, it is not the place where you put the question. This is just the instruction. So it says in here, add the question stem. Question stem is basically the instruction on how to what the students need to do for this question. So that's why I put the instruction, fill in the blank. So to put the question, they put it in here in the fill in the blank section. So unfortunately, with the question, the only thing that's not going to be fillable for faculty is the rich content editor right in here. So this question is probably not going to be appropriate if you're asking for a math type of question, just because there's no rich content editor available where you can put formulas or edit the text. That's just for strictly text-based fill in the blank, such as this one. And lastly, numeric. Numeric's a bit different and new quizzes too. If you're a math faculty, and I'll just talk briefly just about this, just because my knowledge about how to create certain things, especially in LaTeX, is very limited. But in classic quizzes, you have to use the math equation editor to put your LaTeX. But in new quizzes, you don't. If you know LaTeX, you can type the LaTeX directly in the text box, or you can use the math quill to put the LaTeX. So the first thing that after you click done, after you make sure that your formula is correct, it's going to convert back to not the image basically that you saw in math quill, but it's going to produce the word, which is fine. All you need to do is click done, and it's going to show the image again. So that is build. Briefly about build. Feel free to play around with build. Let me go to settings. So in here, I already got a warning just because for this demo, I already asked some of my colleagues to take this exam so I can show you certain things. That's why I'm not going to be. That's why you're seeing this message. Students have already attempted this assessment. Be cautious about making changes to the settings. So this shuffle questions, I already explained it before, that do this only if you want to shuffle the whole exam, the whole questions, everything. But if you have type of answer choices that says choices A and B are correct, you might not want to shuffle this, use this feature, because that question, that answer will get shuffled on the top or in the middle or somewhere else. It might be confusing which one is A, which one is B. So that's the reason why if you have that kind of question, shuffle just that particular question. Don't shuffle, don't use this, but do it manually per question. You can shuffle the questions, you can shuffle the answers. You can show one question at a time. Require students access code, time limit, allow calculator. There's also allow calculator per questions too. So, but if you enable in here, it will be available throughout the exam basically. But if you make allow calculator available just per question, that the calculator will only be available for just that question. Allow multiple attempts. You can keep the highest, average, latest, or the first attempt. I don't really know why someone would use first attempt. So usually the highest or the average or the latest. Allowed attempts, limited, unlimited. As of right now, you disable this, it's going to be limited, use one. You can also limit the attempt to just 2 if you want. Or waiting period, this is new. If you want your students to, after they take the first exam, for example, they get 60%, and you allow students to retake the exam. So this is actually a good feature that is available in new quizzes, as you can set up a waiting period. So after they receive a 60%, they need to wait, I don't know, 30 minutes, 1 hour before they can retake the exam again. Like for example, you've seen this happen if you mistype your phone password 5 times, then you can't unlock it. You have to wait for a minute or 2 before you can try to unlock your phone again. So that is available if you want to use it. Restrict student result. So there are different features that are available now in new quizzes, not just 3 that was previously available in classic quizzes. So feel free to take a look at the different options that you want to do for restricting student result. And checking this you'll see, for example, without checking this, you're not going to be able to select certain features. So Sometimes you just have to enable certain features to make the other features available, for example, right? So reports. I'm not going to talk about outcomes analysis in this training. I'm mainly going to talk about quiz and item analysis. So this will take a while. So it will take some time, up to 24 hours. That's what we have noticed for Canvas, for new quizzes to produce the quiz and item analysis report. Usually it's faster in classic quizzes for Canvas to produce the analytics, but it's a lot slower in new quizzes. So just be patient. It can take up to 24 hours. Just because maybe it's a third-party tool. But in here, you can actually look at the quiz and item analysis. The only thing that's not available in the quiz and item analysis, that I know that some faculty are so used to do this, is to download the student analysis and the item analysis in CSV format. So that feature, if that feature is important to you, our recommendation is to keep using classic quizzes until Canvas built that student's analysis and the item analysis CSV file. As of right now, and new quizzes, you can only look at it, basically. There is no download button where you can download the student analysis. So from here, after you look at the student analysis, we can go to moderate, which contain many different things. Moderate the exam in classic quizzes is something that's available after you publish the exam, but in new quizzes, you don't have to publish the exam. It's available after you build the question. So the idea is that you start from left to right, except that you can skip reports. So from settings to moderate, where you can moderate the student's attempt. You can also regrade in here too, from moderation. You can look at the student's attempt. You can see the score, you can see the time, you can see the log. So this will act as your speed grader too in some way. Because previously you have to go to, in classic quizzes, you have to go to the speed grader to view the log, for example, but in here, you can view the log directly from moderate. And there are two different kinds of moderations, and this is, I think it's important for you to know. There's the pencil icon, and then there's this moderate button. Each will do two different things. One of the feedback that Canvas has been getting from faculty is that they do not want to add students' accommodation on every exam in classic quizzes. They have, as of right now, and if you're using classic quizzes, they have to go to every exam, every quizzes to add the students' accommodation, right? But in new quizzes, they don't have to do that. If they click the pencil icon, for example, if I want Diana to receive 8 minutes of extra time on all of her exams from week 1 to week 16, I can just click the pencil icon, and it says in here, this settings will be applied to all course assessment for these students. So that's a yay, I think, for faculty who wants to do this. So that's a win. So I can give Diana additional time for 8 minutes, like I just did, and this 8 minutes will be applied to all exams. Even if you have not created the exams yet, it's still going to work. So you can also remove the time limit or time limit multiplier. But if you only want to give Diana 8 minutes for just this exam, let's say because Diana had some internet connectivity issues, I'm just going to give her extra 8 minutes for this exam. You have to click this moderate button, not the pencil, but the moderate. This will allow you to reopen the exam and give additional attempts if you want, or give additional time, just 8 minutes. just for this exam. So that's the difference. Use the pencil if you want to give accommodation for the students for all of the exams that you have in your course. Use moderate if you want to reopen the exam. This will not reopen the exam. So moderate will reopen the exams and give additional time. Again, remove time, additional time for just this exam. Regrading also works same way. After you look at your reports, you can let's say that, oh, the student was right. I missed something because, hey, faculty are also human. You know, we make mistakes when grading the exam. You can go to one of your students, doesn't really matter which one. I'm just going to click the attempts. And you can use the regrade. For example, I just did. I regraded question number 1. And you can click regrade and do this. Remember, do this after everyone have submitted the exams, not do this in the middle of the exam, where you can click regrade, choose the right answer. For example, regrade and award points for correct answer. These are all the same options that you already know from that are available in classic quizzes. Just click regrade. And it might take some time depending on how many students you have. But at the end of the day, it's going to say this question has been regraded. And that's it. You don't need to save or anything. Just remember to click updates at the end. You can also put fudge points if you want at the very end. So that is how you can regrade. Not all options, again, not all question types is regradable automatically. Sorry, for example, essay types is not regradable, or file uploads is not regradable. You just have to change the points manually if for those types of questions. So if you don't see regrade button, that means it's not regradable automatically. So after you build the exam, the most confusing things is going back to your course homepage. Just click return. This will go back to the main homepage, basically. I'm going to show you one more thing about SpeedGrader, on how you can access SpeedGrader. SpeedGrader is still available in new quizzes. It's not available and when you click new quizzes, basically, or when you hit build, that SpeedGrader is not available. The only way to access SpeedGrader in new quizzes is by going to the grades. So let me find that new quizzes, this new quizzes testing. So you need to click this button, the 3 vertical dots, and click SpeedGrader. Then you're going to be able to see SpeedGrader, and you can also use the regrade from your gradebook SpeedGrader too as well. So I like doing it from moderate just because it's basically a one-stop shop. You don't have to go to SpeedGrader or move somewhere else. So that is where, if you're looking for SpeedGrader, that's how you access SpeedGrader. Go back to PowerPoint. I did show you how you can create new quiz, how you can build new quiz settings, reports, moderate, best practices. So remember to add the total points in the front. Preview your quiz before publishing it. I forgot to show you how you can preview your new quizzes. So let me go back to my new quizzes. But after you build your new quizzes, you have to click build. And the preview button is on the top, right there, where you can preview it before you publish the your quiz. Add student accommodation before publishing your quiz. So some limitations. Again, we'll have a different training that we can talk solely about limitations or the workaround. But I can tell you that the FAQ link that I sent earlier in the beginning of the training is basically your source. I'll send it again. So for who have joined on this training late. So that FAQ is basically, we'll know about the limitations or the updates from that document too. So some limitations, if you want to migrate your new quizzes to a different course, it might not be easy. The only way to do it is to use copy. You cannot export it. Basically, that export will not show you the export a quiz in settings will not show you any of your new quizzes. Importing question banks to an item banks, question banks from classic quizzes to an item banks basically will not work without workaround. That link that I sent about new quizzes FAQ will show you exactly what is the workaround if you want to transfer your question banks to an item banks. It is not easy, but it works. And also set new quizzes to be the default option for course copy and import. So that is also limitations. Hopefully they'll resolve this issue soon, because some of you who have built new, who have used new quizzes this semester, when next semester comes, that new quizzes will become classic quizzes. So anything you have created in new quizzes right now in your course will get converted back to classic quizzes in your new course, in spring 2022 course. Then you have to rebuild, you have to convert it again from classic to new quizzes and etc., which is not fun, right? So those three are some of the limitations that I can talk about right now. Of course, there are others. So thank you so much for attending this training. We have other training opportunities that are available in the future. So please keep a look and watch our training schedule on our LMS website. Available resources, lms.tamu.edu/new quizzes, which I also have provided you with that link before. I'll submit it again. I'll do it again in case you join this training late. So that is our website where we host new quizzes updates basically, and also the new quizzes FAQ from instructor. So again, if you have any questions for new quizzes, we recommend that you actually put a ticket, just because with new quizzes, it's brand new to also all of us. And we certainly would like more time to investigate that issue, because if you attend our office hours, we might not have the answer right away, you know. So this training also will be available, and other trainings about new quizzes will also be available on our YouTube channel. You can search TAMU Office for Academic Innovation on YouTube, and also email our support aihelp@tamu.edu or call our support desk, and we can help you in providing some kind of a solutions or workaround.